And welcome into the Friday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, happy Friday to you. What's going on? How we doing?
Happy Friday. Back to you. Stayed up till 11:30 writing, which is fine, except it's crap. Like if you're staying up late writing Moby Dick, that's one thing, but just not great. But I will say that Thursday is for nights. We had a tough one. It was a little dicey, but pulled it out with a great drive late. Nice way to show up in Lebanon. Tough team, and they were missing their outstanding back, but great way to start the season. And also, did you see? Well, we can talk about it, but the DGG, holy crap!
Oh, I saw it. Yeah,
I mean, dude, they need to just is there any way Tennessee can convince him to go in a cryogenic chamber until next year? And or he may hurt people this year.
Or himself. I flipped it over on one play and his helmet came off. He was still running, and I was like, "Hey, please go down." Don't have time for this. But high school football back in action. I did. I got home from the other job last night, turned on and saw that Nolensville and Lebanon were playing. I was like, "Hey, look, Nolensville's playing." So I sat down and watched that. Was texting you for a while that was going on. Dramatic game there last night between Nolensville and Lebanon. Got a little hairy for Nolensville in the second half, but they figured it out. And then a bunch of high school football going on tonight. So we're looking forward to that. Ian, how we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Doing just fine, thanks. Happy Friday. No rain on the drive-in today, so that was nice. I hear 24. We got some issues on 24. I think it was eastbound closed. So if you're using 24, heads up. There's some signs out there. Seen some on the social. But yeah, happy Friday. Doing just fine, thanks.
People are already marveling at Rexrode's shirt on the YouTube chat, which today is the Low T Titans shirt that was gifted to him, I don't know, a couple years ago at this point, or maybe last year. It's great. It's good stuff.
It's a beautiful shirt. I feel bad. Who gave this to me again? Was it?
I gave it to you. He didn't give it to me. I don't know.
Well, they left it at the station. And also, I do feel
bad.
They've
been Mitch.
I do feel bad that you don't have one. You can borrow it, though. You got either of you guys, if we want to pass this around a little bit so we can all enjoy the Low T Titan shirt. Whoever gave it to me, if you're listening, please announce yourself. I was going to say Keith, but
I was going to say Keith also.
We also have multiple Keiths who listen to the show, so there's a lot of confusion here. But thanks. And yes, I mean, this is motivation, man. This is motivation. Joint practice today.
Yep.
Big preseason game Sunday. Get your crap together.
Yep.
Get your tee up.
Mendoza back in action last night. Did not go quite as well for Fernando this time. 8 of 15. He threw a pick six in the game. Made a couple of nice throws. Had a nice interview out there, which I guess is just always going to be something that he does, which is just objectively hilarious. But did have a pick six on the resume this time, Joe, that if you watch the play, really wasn't all that great. He did hustle to try to make the tackle the other way. Did not quite get there, but 8 of 15, 86 yards, and interception. That was a pick six for Mendoza last night in a thrilling 22-20 Raiders victory in the preseason against the Texans.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, I'm not going to lie and tell you that I saw anything, of the comeback from whoever the heck was quarterbacking that team. But
Aiden O'Connell.
Okay, there you go. I forgot about that guy. Yeah, a terrible pick from Fernando. Nice preseason moment. It's one of those things where it's that should serve to quiet people down who are he should start right away, but also now the other way, it's people freak out because he made a bad play. I like you said, I thought he looked pretty decent overall. That was a rookie moment, and then who the heck is their coach? I mean, this is just
Kubiak.
beautiful. Yeah, Clint. That's right.
Yeah.
Clint Kubiak. They asked after the game, about, this must be a daily thing out there, right? Like, who's starting at quarterback? And he wouldn't say. He said, I want everybody to feel uncomfortable. Like, okay.
Does that mean Aiden O'Connell has entered the mix?
Man, I suppose Kirk and Fernando are both disappointing Clint. So who knows?
Kirk's third string quarterback. That could be interesting out there. See how that goes. Stroud got in there for a little bit last night. I think he was in there for one drive. They went up and down the field and scored a touchdown. Davis Mills rising above the occasion and having 11 of 15 out there for his completion percentage. Only 6.2 per pass. So got to work on that. But nice to see my guy Davis Mills back out there on the field. I'm very interested to see what this looks like for Houston this year on the offensive side of the ball in particular. We've talked a lot about, but Stroud out there, one drive, one touchdown last night. Did not throw it, but 4 of 6 for 27 yards.
Yeah. Well, at least you got to play a little bit, So these games are, that they can hold your interest for a little bit.
And I stress a little bit.
Yeah. Texas didn't have all their guys, but still that defense. I mean, if like Fernando Mendoza, it's like, hey man, this is the NFL right here. See that defense. That's how things are different now for you. So nice learning experience for the lad.
Yep. Some more preseason games tonight. And then the preseason week 2 finale this weekend will be the Titans and the Seahawks for everyone to see out there on national TV. So we'll get to that throughout the show. The Titans Seahawks having their joint practice session today. We will get into that throughout the show as well. But we begin, Joe, with some comments from Dan Orlovsky on ESPN yesterday. And they were talking about a whole bunch of different things, like, Joe Burrow and the Bengals getting in training camp fights, and Jamar Chase saying, I don't care what we do. We better effing protect Joe out here. I don't care what else we do. That's what we need to do, is protect Joe, which I feel like we could probably use as a drop on our show, because that's what we need to do, is protect Joe on this program. But Orlovsky and the Peter Schrager and all these people, the conversation eventually changed to Cam Ward, and it got back to Ward's performance in preseason game number 1 against San Francisco. And Orlovsky made a very bold claim there. This is what Dan Orlovsky on ESPN, friend of the show, had to say yesterday.
As disappointed as I was out of anybody's tape in preseason week 1, I'd say number 1, Cam's played enough football in the league already to have cleaner eyes. This is a sail concept up top. When he gets that safety at the bottom of the screen to rotate and those defenders lift, this should be an easy throw to that corner flat end. Instead, it's a scramble, and I think he gets 1 yard on it. Cleaner eyes, that ball should go there 100 out of 100 times. Number 2, no easy misses. It's hard in this league to play quarterback. This is an RPO that nickel fires. That means throw the bubble. He's wide open. This is Wan'Dale Robinson. That's an easy throw. You can't miss this. The third one, are we being competitive or careless? The defense has won the rep here. Everybody's covered. Competitive or careless? Because careless, hold on to the football, run backwards, try to float the ball away. That's a intentional grounding penalty. It's preseason. I'm not overreacting. But you do want to see much improved play in week 2 from Cam Ward to at least spring this offense into the regular season. Because if he takes a step, Tennessee is going to be a very competitive football team.
So that was Orlovsky yesterday on ESPN saying as disappointed as anybody that he saw in preseason week 1, Cam Ward probably tops that list. What do you make of that, Joe?
Yeah, and obviously he's going through, and I think if you're listening, if you didn't see it and you're just listening, I think you probably know the plays he's talking about. But yeah, it's decision, it's just a miss, and then of course, we've all talked about the grounding play. But yeah, look, I think it's been pretty widespread this week around the league that as people have done roundups of who looked good, who didn't, Cam Ward's name has come up a lot on the wrong side of that. And that's totally fair. Again, you can't, this is the reality of people who cover the league at large, is like they don't nitpick every single practice of any player, right? I mean, maybe the Cowboys get a little bit more practice by practice attention, some other teams, but no, look, that's what it is. I mean, it's a game situation. He was not good. I mean, I thought that those were pretty strong words, but I think they were fair words. I do, and I again, it points to me to maybe I'm like being like a carnival barker here, but I just feel like Sunday is as much as a preseason game can be important to a player. I'd say that this one is. It's obviously the playing in front of the fans this time as well, in front of the home fans.
Well, I think it can serve as, if he goes out there and plays well, people are going to say, all right, well, let's relax a little bit around here.
Yes.
It's going to be fine. Moving in, it's preseason. It was one performance in San Francisco, and look what he just did. Everybody calm down. I will say, if he's bad, again, like if you go back-to-back performances in the preseason where you're not very good, I think the panic meter is going to start to rise pretty rapidly with the fan base. Now, what does that mean for Borgonzi? What does that mean for Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll? I don't know. I don't know what all that means if he's out there and it's less than stellar again coming up this weekend against Seattle. But I would even say, look, Joe, like these two combination of days, you got the joint practice today, you got the actual game coming up on Sunday. And look, I've said it, I place value in the actual game. Like he's got to get out there in a game setting and do it. But I think these next 2 days against other teams, not your own, are very, very important for Cam Ward, just in terms of the narrative of where this thing's headed here for the rest of the preseason.
Yeah, well, I think and the narrative is going to, could be something, and then the regular season can totally change it, be different. I think his confidence has got to be somewhere in there too, right?
I would agree.
His own just confidence in one, like in the offensive line, right? I mean, is it possible that that if he can just like if he can, I don't know, convince himself that these guys actually are doing a decent job, give him a chance, does that help him slow the clock down a little bit when he's out there after he takes a snap? Of course, and I don't know who, obviously we're talking about a great defense here in Seattle. They don't have like stars on the edge, but they got good players everywhere. And I don't know how many of those guys are going to play, but probably today more than Sunday, you probably get a really good look when you go best versus best.
We're off and running on Robby and Rexrode. Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel will be with us at 7:30. We'll get to the latest on Tennessee's quarterback battle and how things are going for the Vols in fall camp. Turron Davenport with us at 8 o'clock on the program today. We welcome your thoughts, your questions at 615-737-1025. More coming up next on the Titans. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at 1025 The Game for live shows and exclusive content. We welcome your thoughts as well on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. By the way, we will have a spot, our first spot in the 2026 Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League to give away later in the program today. So make sure you are tuned in for that. We will give away our first spot in today's program. Welcoming your thoughts, Trevor on the text line, or excuse me, Liam on the text line, sent the screenshot of Orlovsky running out of the back of the end zone with Jared Allen just laughing. So anytime Orlovsky offers his thoughts on something, Joe, that comes up in some form or fashion. And it does not fail to make me laugh every time. I enjoy it thoroughly.
It's a hilarious picture. Well done by Liam. I do wonder, like how many times when Orlovsky says something, and Orlovsky isn't, I don't think, critical too often. I mean, for the most part, he's a supporter of quarterbacks, right? But whenever Orlovsky says something critical about somebody in a market, is it do you think it's 100% that some fan of that team puts that picture somewhere into the atmosphere? I think it is too.
Yes, I do.
And it's everyone must have that picture handy just in case he pisses you off.
I mean, I'd hate to see what would happen if he ever was critical of Jared Goff and what Lions fans would say. Hey, remember when you played for us, you bum, and you ran out of the back of the end zone?
God, they'd send him anonymous packages with chunks of the end zone that he was running in, to
remember we had Jared Allen on the show.
Yeah.
And I asked him about that, and it was just hilarious. His breakdown of what he was watching on that play. It was awesome.
It's an amazing one. It really is because other people have done that before, have stepped out, have gotten close and they've stepped up. He thought the end zone was 20 yards deep.
He did. Pretty incredible.
Suddenly in the CFL.
Now,
maybe he should have been. Sorry, Dan. Sorry.
Friend of the show. Although, he's gotten a little bit more big time, Joe. He's on McAfee and stuff all the time now.
Oh, yeah.
I can't get Orlovsky to return text quite as much as I used to be able to.
By the way, according to him, that's a great album. So
that's good.
Diary of a Polarizing Figure is some really good stuff per Dan Orlovsky's
Did you
music.
Say diary or diarrhea?
I think I said diary. Did I say diary?
Maybe a Freudian slip.
Polarizing diarrhea virus. I actually would probably rather listen to that album. But yeah, so Orlovsky, his music review, his musical taste says good stuff. Thumbs up, 2 thumbs up.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
Now, I would also say this, joking aside on the Dan Orlovsky front, it is I do enjoy some of his breakdowns. He has played quarterback in the NFL. And if you watch that clip that we just played in the last segment, I mean, and the plays we've talked about him, the first play he's talking about where he scrambles, climbs the pocket, holds the ball out like he's about to punt it, never sees Gunnar Helm breaking it wide open over to the left along the sideline.
Yep.
On the sail route. The next one's the screen to the left to Wan'Dale Robinson, the bubble screen, where it's just a total misfire on the play. And the last one's the intentional grounding play. Orlovsky played football in the NFL, played quarterback in the NFL. And I do put some stock into what he says when he goes through some of these deep dives. So joking aside or running out of the back of the end zone, he's a pretty good analyst. And I put some stock into what he says when he says, look, that of the tape that he's watched of NFL preseason week 1, Cam Ward tops the list of most disappointing. That's a pretty bold statement from Orlovsky.
Yeah, it is. Now I don't even know who else is in contention. Some people barely played, and it seems like most people who did got out there, and it was okay, decent drive, and have a seat.
Sure.
So I don't know. It's if week 1 happens and all these guys play full games, and it's loser of the week, Cam Ward. Well, that matters 1,000 times more than this. But Orlovsky says some goofy stuff sometimes and all that, but I think his film breakdowns are great. He obviously understands the concepts. He can tell you, he can explain to you what a quarterback's supposed to be looking at when it's not always obvious. We look at, we watch Man, we watch the protection and playing people going on routes, but he can break down some stuff where it's like, see, when you see this, that means you always look at this, which is what he was talking about with the first play there, that Cam Ward should have just been automatic, but instead he's tucking, his eyes are down, and that's just, you just can't play quarterback that way in the NFL.
Well, and then the question becomes in the aftermath of that, Joe, how much of that is 1 week being sped up, things we've talked about for the past week, and how much of that potentially is symptomatic of where his game is right now. If that's what it is, and he's just not seeing things the way that he needs to see them at the moment, how correctable is that in 1 week? Look, quarterbacks miss reads, right? Like quarterbacks, whether you're Cam Ward, sometimes you're Josh Allen, and you don't see it perfectly out there, right? So it's not, it's not a 5-alarm fire that he missed some reads that he should have gotten to. Now, that one in particular that Orlovsky breaks down on the first one, like that's clearly where the design of the play is going. So that one's a little bit more concerning. But like how symptomatic of this is, all right, he was sped up. It's preseason game 1. He's back on the field for the first time in a long time, all those things. And how much of it is, when game 2 rolls around this weekend, he's still going to be missing some reads, missing some throws out there that you just have to see an NFL quarterback made. Because the other part of that, Joe, is it's not exactly like you're having to do too much reading of the defense going on in the preseason. It's pretty vanilla what they're doing out there.
Yeah, typically. I mean, teams will still throw pressures at you and they'll rotate, their coverage. I mean, they're still working on stuff, basic stuff that they want to do. But yeah, like probably not as much exotic disguises and pressures and things like I don't know. I mean, I think that probably varies from coach to coach. Like some people are like, well, we need to do the stuff that we're going to do. And some are, it's also in the preseason game. It's like, are you right now in get our guys ready mode, or are we in, we got to see this guy and this guy and this guy and figure out the roster mode? That's obviously later in the game, but yeah, it's definitely not, it's not game quality. It's not a game. And it's not a game from the offensive side either, where they're not just calling plays, but they have something in mind in a lot of cases, like a matchup that they want to, emphasize and stuff like that. But bottom line is he's going to get some plays here. He's going to have some reads. There's going to be stuff open to him. There's always a hole in the defense. And then you got to see it and you got to just make some throws and calm everybody down. Just again, it's like, I mean, we've had a whole season of watching him, but it wasn't great. Was it better than the second half? Yes. Was it incredible in the second half? No. The Cam dudes can get a little bit overboard with that. So it's a process. And I do agree with him. Whenever people bring up, by the way, new system, new stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to use that as an excuse, but like, that's how I could see this game. And then the next one after it being a little bit better in some ways, because it's his first opportunities in actual game situations with this offense.
Orlovsky's catching some heat on the text line. Gunner says he knows so much, but he was a bum as a player. Couldn't pack Cam's towel. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, certainly he wasn't a great player. I mean, he probably, what was he, a 5th-round pick, I think? I mean, the fact that he even started games in the NFL, probably a testament to him not being a bum would be my argument to you. Also, like, there are, again, Greg Olson, to me, is the best analyst calling football games, and he was a good tight end, Like Tom Brady was one of the greatest quarterbacks in AFC history, and he's an okay analyst.
Oh, also, like, Sean McVay didn't play in the NFL. He's a pretty good coach, right? Like, I don't know that your playing ability directly relates to your ability to teach and or analyze the game.
No, it really has nothing to. I mean, and not nothing. Like, obviously, if Orlovsky's been in those situations, he's actually done it. I mean, there's value in that. But yeah, like, I mean, look, there's a million people out there breaking down NFL film who haven't played a snap of like Nerf playground football. Yeah, who do it well.
That's true. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. More of your thoughts to get to on the Titans, plus some news around the world of sports that should comfort some fans here of local interest. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Sometimes the misspelling of words, Joe, on the text line gets me. I'm not taking shots or anything. It happens, you know. But somebody tried to spell a Borgonzi and spelled it Barganaz. And for whatever reason, that has got me tickled heading back into this segment.
I am the Wizard of Bargainaz. Do not look behind the curtain. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Mike Barganaz.
Oh boy.
Yeah, boy. It's the things this early at 6:30 in the morning that get me very fired up sometimes. George in Murfreesboro on the YouTube chat, Joe says, notice how people aren't saying Orlovsky is wrong. They're just attacking him for something he did years ago because they don't want to admit that he might be right. People just want to hear the positive thing. This is from George from Murfreesboro.
That's the classic, don't attack the messenger, Yeah, and yeah, it is like the people who are like who are actually angry at him, like ripping him. It's like, okay, so do you think he's wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, he's a public figure. He did one of the most hilariously dumb things in NFL history. I mean, it is an awesome play to make fun of someone for, but do you think he's wrong? How much of a Cam do are you? Are you, in the psych ward on the positive side, whereas Jared Spring Hill is even one step beyond the what are you doings?
Yeah, the psych ward may become a thing. Really, you could do it on both sides of it, but I feel like there could be another T-shirt in the future here.
There you go. And
probably need to start talking about it, and monetize some of this stuff,
I know, right? I mean, most of these are like, we don't come up with them. Like, smarter people who listen to the show do. So you guys should be out there making these T-shirts, selling them, and then giving them to us for free. But a psych ward. I mean, like, that could be like if Ward gets good, like everybody's psyched for Ward, right?
I call dibs on the Mike Barganaz T-shirts. Just Borgonzi's face with like a Wizard of Oz theming in the background for the T-shirt.
If that Chad Brinker only had a brain. Ah, my goodness.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
There you go.
Oh, boy. Good stuff out there. Yeah, Orlovsky, look, I am hoping, Joe, that Ward goes out there on Sunday, plays really well. Number one, because I don't want to watch bad quarterback play again this year. So I'd like, to watch good football and have something different to talk about. And I certainly don't want to get into like by the end of the year, should the Titans draft another quarterback conversation? I'd frankly like to avoid that at all costs here moving forward here. So I'm hoping that he goes out there both today in the joint practices and on the Sunday in the preseason game, plays really well. The accuracy stuff, that's where, like, I think that's of all the things we've talked about with Ward this week, the accuracy is where I need to see it at this point, like over an extended period of time, right? Like if I had to identify one thing that I think it's just going to take a while for me to not be skeptical about, it's his accuracy. Like I need to see him do it week after week after week when the regular season gets here. Not that he's got to throw for 75% every week, but like we can't be having 5 misses a week that we talk about in the regular season where you're just like, geez, they had that play there and the quarterback just missed it. And at this point, based on what I've seen from him, I think that for, convincing me that he can do that is probably going to take a minute.
Yeah. Like T-Bone asked, like, do you think most of the struggles are trying to get all of Brian Callahan's stuff out of his head and learn this completely new system? I just talked about systems. So again, I'm not tossing that out at all. I think new system is part of the whole thing, but like the bubble screen. Every single system has that play, like probably exactly the same way too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all different variations of like, the jailbreak screens or the bubble screens, all this stuff. But that's just like, that's all that is that had nothing to do with Brian Callahan or Brian Daboll or anybody. It's just, there it is. Make the throw. Do you have the muscle memory to be able to hit the strike zone over and over, paint the corners? That's what you have to do as a quarterback. So yeah, like I'm with you. I mean, if you get to the point where you slow the game down, you're consistently making good decisions, and we know he can make amazing throws. Look, if you get everything to a really good place mentally, in command, you're getting protection. Tate's a stud. Like you've got a variety of guys to get the ball to, and you're doing your thing and making some of the plays you make. And then you're gonna sail, like Josh Allen still sails some throws that are like, whoa, like that'll never completely leave his game. Okay, you can live with that, but all those other things are also not good enough. I mean, I don't think we're ever gonna like watch Cam Ward and think, man, that's just like Drew Brees. No, the ball is like exactly in the,
I don't need it to be that either.
No, exactly. Like, but do the other stuff that you can control and improve. And of course, you want to improve your footwork and all the mechanics to be as accurate as possible. I think there's going to always be some sailed throws and some missed layups, but that's got to get better. And then all these other things too. Right now, the glimpse we got in the first game was a lot of things not where they need to be.
Well, I hear you. It does make me a little nervous about, okay, because I agree with you. Like I think to some level, the accuracy is probably always going to be an issue. Now, how big of an issue? Like right now, it's an enormous issue. Can it go from being an enormous issue to like an issue that you just have to live with every now and then with Cam Ward? That would be fine. But like Josh Allen, for instance, he's the comparison we always make because of the Daboll connection. Well, Josh Allen is an elite runner of the ball at the quarterback position, and Josh Allen is huge. He's exceptionally big and strong and powerful and very difficult to bring down. And I mean, I don't know if you watched Josh Allen play in the first preseason game. He made one play on a touchdown pass where he like escaped a sack, and it was just like, oh yeah, so he's still pretty good, huh? Like there's a lot of things that Josh Allen does at an elite level that, you look at some of the misses that he still has, and it's like, yeah, you'll live with some of that. Is Ward going to do anything else? Like, is he going to play in these other parts of his game at a high enough level where you eventually look at him and say, yeah, we'll live with some of the misses because he's so good at all this other stuff? And that's where I don't know. Like, what's that skill set look like for him?
Yeah. Well, that's why. So, I mean, actually, it has to get, like, you have to mechanically figure it out as much as you can. It's got to get better. But yeah, then the other stuff, I mean, it all has to come together. And then you get into this, well, I always come back to this NFL. Okay, does he have a good OC? Does he have a good offensive line? Jared Goff, I've seen him look terrible in this league. And Sean McVay's like, I got to upgrade. And I'm not saying Sean McVay wasn't wrong, but also then you see Jared Goff with incredible protection, skill, offensive coordinator. It's like, who's better than that dude? I mean, there's a few, but he's like, he was probably for a while there, I don't know, a couple years ago, was he about maybe the 6th best QB in the league? Whereas 2 years before that, he probably looked like he was about the 22nd best quarterback in the league, right? Something like that. I mean, like, it's a team sport, but I know we're talking about Cam, and ultimately that's the most important player. So all those things have to be good too, and that's, some things are out of his control. But yes, the accuracy is, it's just, you have to try to get it as sharpened as you can. But I do think that if the mental side of it is there, and you're not rushed, and you're able to pick things apart mentally, that's got to help some, right? It's got to.
You would think so. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. But let's get to some of your thoughts. Skylar says, anybody making fun of Orlovsky because he's calling out how awful Ward was needs to wake up and put their fandom to the side. First quarter on Sunday night better look a lot better, or else we have a lot to worry about. This from Skylar on the text line. One texter says, When Orlovsky says that better play by Cam Ward will transform the Titans into a really good team, it disqualifies him as a serious analyst. This is from an unnamed texter. I don't think he said really good team. I think he said if Ward plays well, the Titans will be competitive, which if you get good quarterback play, you should at least be competitive.
I thought he said something stronger than that, but regardless, I disagree with the text. I mean, I think if Cam Ward makes a big step, I still think that this defense can be good. I understand what the secondary looks like right now, but we haven't seen the full strength of what they have up front. So I don't think that's. I mean, I think they can be in the mix, which you darn well should be after the stretch they've had. I think they've done some things to improve their team. I think Jared and Springhill has, and I love this point by him in the YouTube chat. Excuse me. You flip the logic around on like the analyst thing. It's like, well, Michael Jordan would be the greatest coach and analyst, or like Magic Johnson tried to coach. He's like, okay, this sucks. None of these guys are as good as me. I'm out. I mean, like being a great player, being a great analyst, these things can be. You can. I feel like the best coaches are typically not great players, right? I mean, how many great players then become great coaches? And also, I mean, the analyst world is filled with people who were either non-players or non-factors as players. It's okay.
Captain Romance.
The Big Row?
The Big Row.
The Big Row was a very good player.
Very good player. Very good coach.
That's true. He's a bit of an outlier.
He is.
In various ways, I guess.
615-737-1025.
Or maybe not.
Phone number 615-737-1025. I got a couple different thoughts to get to coming up next. One on the college football front, one on the soccer front. How about that for versatility? We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, an interesting development in college football yesterday. Brent Venables, I guess technically agreeing to a new 6-year contract that runs through 2031. The deal basically adds 2 additional years to it. Getting paid more than $10.5 million per year, Brent Venables. So they get in the college football playoff last year, Joe. Did not go well for them in the college football playoff, but they got John Mateer back in the fold this year. They're feeling good about themselves. They're 10-3 last year. So Brent Venables, a nice contract extension, which begs the question, Joe. For a while, a year ago, a couple years ago, I heard some Tennessee fans that started to get a little worried, like, hey, if Oklahoma fires Venables and they come calling for Heupel, would Heupel leave? Like, is that something that he would do? Obviously, bunch of ties there. Well, I don't know that Venables is ever going to leave Oklahoma at this point, Joe. And now Heupel, if he doesn't have a good year for half the fan base, is going to be on the hot seat heading into next year. What do we make of the Venables contract extension? Do you agree with it? Would you have done it? And can we officially say that the Heupel to Oklahoma discourse is now dead?
No, and yes. I don't understand why we're doing this. Why is this necessary? Like, all of the justification always, including for the big Jay Prue, our guy Jay Prue, Philip Fulmer, like, these people are trying to poach my guy. But that's like the justification or the reasoning in some of these big extensions used to be recruiting. Like, these kids better know that it really is. I mean, talk about something that's changed in college football. Like, these kids need to have the security that the program they're at, which we all know they'll be there their entire career, is their coach is going to be there for sure. They don't want to have that uncertainty. You can't go out there and recruit and talk to these parents and kids if you can't say, look, I've got this deal and I'm here for you. I'm going to be here the whole time. That's not, now it's like, who's going to be there year after year after year? And we're giving these big extensions. What is Oklahoma doing? What was Alabama doing? What are they thinking? I don't understand it. Brent Venables did a great job last year answering questions, and he got kind of over the hump for sure. He was close. He would have been one of the top guys in the hot seat not that long ago, right?
Yeah.
Different situation with like Kalen DeBoer after the Florida State loss last year was like, yeah, what's that buyout number? That's what Alabama fans are doing.
Yep.
I just play it out. Like you don't have to do this. These players now, again, they have it's yearly free agency. And of course, like if you're recruiting them, you want to say, and the intent going in is, I want to be at this program. I'm picking this program. I plan this for this to be my home. But everybody knows that you can easily just leave now, and people are going to get in there if you're good and try to lure you away, or maybe you're not playing enough in some other programs. Like you'll start here or whatever it is. But I don't understand with all the other things going on and people just screaming about how they're running out of money. Oh my God. What we need help, Washington. We can't, this is unsustainable. Oh, by the way, here, let me give an absurd extension to a coach who really doesn't deserve it right now. Why the hell not?
Hey, good for him though,
Sure.
Don't have to worry about it. I mean, there's still people talking about like if Alabama goes 9-3 this year, that DeBoer may get fired even after the extension he just signed, which would be interesting if that's the way that it plays out.
Just light some money on fire because apparently, why not?
Have you seen Alabama's schedule, by the way?
I don't know that I've really studied it. Brutal?
Well, yes. They've got like a 4-game stretch. Listen to this 4-game stretch that they've got. Home against Georgia, at Tennessee, home against A&M, at LSU. That's their 4-game stretch.
Whew. They get a week between A&M, their off week, their idle week. Either one's acceptable. Is between
A&M and LSU.
A&M and LSU. So at least they have that. But yeah, the other 3 are like 3 in a row. That is unbelievable, man. Oh.
I mean, I think they're probably going to start 5-0. Like, I would be surprised if they don't win all of, and I know they lost to Florida State last year, but I would be surprised if they don't win each one of East Carolina, Kentucky, Florida State, South Carolina, Mississippi State. But, I don't know what they're going to do after that. Like, that's a brutal 4-game stretch.
Yeah, and look, the reality is, and kudos to them, and kudos to all these teams that are playing a real team. I know Florida State stunk last year, but still, I mean, that's a real team. That's a real series. That's still like you got to play a talented, tough game right in there. I mean, you start with East Carolina and you get right into it. And I don't know. I'm with you. I mean, they should win. But at Kentucky, new coach. I mean, it's not like it's just cakewalk city, right? I'm looking at, okay, so they got so basically they have 2 like quote unquote easy games. That's what this 9-game schedule is. You got to get used to it because you're just like, well, you're looking for the cream puffs, and it's like, okay, they got Chattanooga. All due respect to Chattanooga.
Yes.
Before the Auburn game, but yeah, that is quite a stretch. And by the way, at LSU, and then the next week is at Vanderbilt. I mean,
yeah,
Vanderbilt's a team. Vanderbilt can play, man. They can line up and play. And if I'm Vanderbilt, I like the placement of that game.
Yeah, I would probably like it as well.
That reminds me of Butch had that stretch in 2016, which was it was like what? It was like Alabama, Georgia, A&M, and it was 4 straight, and they were all Alabama, Georgia, A&M. There was another one in there.
Maybe
it was
South Carolina.
I think it was somebody better than that, but it was just like, obviously the A&M game was amazing. I feel like the Alabama game was just like,
well, I think
that was the last one of it, and it was like, okay, they are absolutely torched right now.
I think it was Florida, Georgia, A&M,
Alabama. You're right, exactly. So the incredible comeback to beat Florida, Hail Mary to beat Georgia, and you're like, okay, this team's going to Atlanta. And then the incredible game at A&M, double overtime loss, and then they came home to Bama. And I remember, I covered that game, and it was just like these guys, they can't play football today. And Bama was number 1; they were amazing, but like having that game as the 4th of that stretch, there was 0 chance, and it seriously looked like Bama was playing Chattanooga that day. Again, all due respect to Chattanooga.
It did. Joe, I'm reading a headline at The Athletic that I don't see your participation in, which is disappointing. That is ranking the 50 best players in the Premier League before the season begins on the soccer front. Yeah. I was really hoping that you were going to get involved in this, and I'm disappointed that you're not. But I've done a glance of this. I don't see any members of the U.S. men's national team in this top 50 here. What does that mean?
Well, that's what I saw it, and I'm like, so does this tell us something? Like, we're like, oh, man, these guys are really coming on, and then, I'm looking through the top 50. And by the way, there's just way too many players with one name, come on, man. Like, I guess if you're top 50 in the Premier League, then you're pretty freaking good, but, like, there's just way too many soccer players with just one name. But, yeah, nobody from there. Now, I will admit, Robby, I was like looking for Pulisic, and I was like, no, he's in Syria. He's in the Italian league. So I missed when he left Chelsea. Sorry. Yeah. So this shows my soccer knowledge. I just want to throw it out to the soccer people. Is this list with no USMNT people on it? And I think there's only like 5 members of the team that are in the Premier League. But is this a little bit of a reminder that like we're still,
still got
behind a bit here in terms of overall talent? Or am I just dumb?
No, it probably is a nice reminder that's the case. It would be a great one name, like soccer name. Bargainaz. That would be awesome.
Bargainaz. Between Bargainaz and someone texted, I want the Bargzerker shirt. Yeah. We got some serious marketing possibilities with this guy.
We are living large on the first hour of the show so far. Bargainaz.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we will give away our first spot in the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League. Coming up next, we also got some takes to get to on the fantasy football front. How many people on the Titans are worth drafting? We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping, outdoor patios, landscaping design, lawn maintenance, and more. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We will have Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel coming up at 7:30. We'll get into the latest on all things Vols at fall camp with him, and Turron Davenport with us at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit, looking ahead to the Titans and the Seahawks coming up this weekend, both on the joint practice part of things and with the preseason game coming up on Sunday. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, every year for the last few years, we've had a lot of people really trying to get in what I think is one of the most popular fantasy football leagues out there in the country, and that is the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League. And it is time to give away our first spot in the 2026 edition of the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League. And we're going to do this in different ways. You know, there have been years that we've done it basically all trivia questions. There have been years that we've had you call in and do stuff. We're going to have a few different ways that we give away spots this year to try to widen the pool as much as we possibly can. But we are going to start today with a trivia question, and it's a trivia question that you'll have to dive, a little bit deep into because there is one complicating factor with it. But today's trivia question is this. We've been talking a lot about Cam Ward this week. So, in college, Cam Ward played for Incarnate Word, Washington State, and Miami. When you factor in all of those stops, all of them, how many touchdown passes did he throw in his college career? Hint, if you go look at like his college reference stats page, you're not going to get the right answer. Okay?
Nice.
So there's a hint for you. So if you factor in Incarnate Word, Washington State, Miami, what is the total number of touchdown passes that Cam Ward threw in his career? The first person to correctly guess will win the first spot in the Fantasy Football League. Text in, do not call. Put it in on the text line. First text we receive with the correct answer will win. Ian Safar is monitoring recklessly on the text line right now. Joe, do you know the answer?
I have no clue.
Okay, good.
I have no idea. And I mean, I could look it up, but I think I'll just wait and find out. We've got people throwing in answers, so
We do.
And they're close. Oh, they're close, but they're not exactly the same.
That's right.
I think I see one.
Ian believes he has found a winner, so we'll see what happens on that front. Joe, my follow-up as Ian works to get to the bottom of all that, how do you view the Titans this year when it comes to fantasy football? That is not necessarily an element of their team that we have talked about yet to this point in training camp. You do have Cam Ward. You do have a running game that, we'll see. We'll see what that looks like for Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears and those guys. You did just draft a receiver at number 4 overall, so you'd figure that he factors into some sort of fantasy football prowess at some point here. What do you make of the Titans and how well equipped their roster is as it relates to a fantasy football selection?
Well, the guy that I would look at, I mean, I think Pollard is certainly a draftable back. I mean, I think he'll get red zone carries. I guess you could look at Spears PPR league, but I don't, I got to see how much he's playing and what the split is and all that stuff, how much they're using the back. I think Wan'Dale Robinson is definitely a draftable player for the Titans. I think he's just going to get, and again, especially in PPR leagues, which ours is, I think he's going to get maybe not a lot of big yardage outputs, but a guy who's draftable. Now, people are saying out there, it sounds like, Tate might be the most, might be the guy who's really going out there. And I get it. I mean, I love drafting rookies. I might be looking at Stribling now, by the way.
No kidding.
After what I saw last week. So I think a lot of people will draft Tate, and I'd take a flyer on him late too. It's just, it'd be low. It'd be low. I just feel like Robinson, I feel like, even though I think Tate is the best receiver on the team and should be showing that early, I just think Robinson is going to be an extension of the run game, is going to get a lot of catches.
By the way,
those are the guys I look at.
Stribling last night for the Niners had 4 catches on 5 targets for 46 yards. So apparently you just throw the ball in the general direction of that guy, and he's going to come down with it.
Yep. And I saw just a horrific pick 6 from Adrian Martinez, by the way. So
he is not good.
Yeah, I'm actually somewhat shocked. He's an example of when you're like, man, this league still doesn't have enough good quarterbacks. Like, him being in the league backs that up.
Yeah, I mean, look, Pollard is draftable. I think it's pretty late in a fantasy football draft if you're drafting Tony Pollard. That's the thing. Even Robinson has caught 90-plus balls for over 1,000 yards in each of the last 2 years. So, he's definitely going to get picked at some point in your fantasy league. I wonder exactly when that league. I think the most common pick by far in terms of the highest drafted Titan, I think it will be Tate.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. People love the
potential.
Yeah, they love the potential. So, yeah, I think that makes sense. If I was in the, I don't know, whatever, 10th round and it was between Robinson and I think it's an interesting one. Again, if you get late enough, then I think you take a flyer on the rookie. But
I think I might go Wandale.
Wandale?
Yeah, over Tate. I'm worried about. I think the production.
I might too.
I'm worried about Tate's production a little bit this year. I think he's going to.
I think he'll be up and down.
Yeah.
Well, I think both will go. Wandale should get a lot of catches in this offense, right? He should get a lot of catches. We'll see what the yardage kind of looks like from him. What about Helm, right? I don't know. I doubt he gets drafted, right? Unless you're a huge Titans fan. First off, around the league, I don't think a lot of people know who Gunnar Helm is yet. I think there's a chance that you could get halfway through the year and you could look around and be like, wow, Gunnar Helm's got 6 touchdowns already so far. Maybe I should pick him up on the waiver wire out there for my backup tight end spot or whatever. But I don't think he's going to get drafted that often.
I agree. And not potentially not a bad second tight end for you. It just depends on what's available. And if you get down to the end and it's just depending on how many rounds you have and all that stuff, certainly I would take a flyer on him as a third tight end. Somebody gets hurt, or he just actually is going to become this red zone factor, and they actually get there a lot and actually score touchdowns and all these things that have to happen. But no, he's certainly somebody to keep in mind. I'm looking at a mock draft right now. I'll tell you one person, just non-Titans. I'm just completely terrified of Christian McCaffrey. I don't think I could take him in the first round.
Really?
Well, I just can't trust him to. If he's playing, hell yeah. You tell me he's going to play 14 games this year, and I'll take him. With you. Yeah. But I really worry about that guy breaking down. I think we're. If Joe Burrow and Christian McCaffrey are on the same team, at some point it'd be like the Spinal Tap drummer. Joe Burrow would just turn around a handoff and they'd both just go into smoke.
Who's the top pick in the fantasy league this year? It's probably some combination of either Gibbs or Robinson, right?
Yeah, the ESPN mock they put out with their staff, where they actually drafted Robinson 1, Gibbs 2, Chase 3. Okay. And McCaffrey 4. And I'm like, no, man.
Any quarterback worth taking in the second or third round? When Lamar was at the top of his game
and running a lot,
he was definitely worth it. Every now and then somebody will take a quarterback in the second round. I'm like, what are you doing? But Lamar, when he was at the top of his game, was probably worth that. I don't know. Last year, there was not anybody worth even Stafford, as good of a year as he had, was he worth, taking in the second round or anything like that? I don't know. That part of it's going to be interesting. Is there anybody that could have a dynamic of enough of a year passing and running the ball? It's going to be interesting to see.
It's a great question. And again, I'm going with these guys in their draft. The first QB for them went at 47 in the 5th round, Josh Allen.
Okay.
So they're thinking the same way, load up on, on the guys who were going to score touchdowns. Yeah, it's also, and of course this affects everybody, but it's the defenses are they have figured some things out, So there's that to consider too. When you talk about Lamar Jackson, I now have flashbacks to back in the day. And I don't know if you guys were, playing yet. You could have been, but back in the day, like Dante Culpepper for a couple of years.
Oh man,
was like, oh dude, because I feel like he ran in so many touchdowns, and he's throwing to Randy Moss and Chris Carter. Oh god, that was amazing.
He had an absolute cannon of an arm too.
Oh yeah. Very underrated, fun player.
Really was.
Yeah.
Saban couldn't quite make it work with him in Miami. So if he was really a great coach, he'd have made that work in Miami.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. 8-8. Good old 8-8 Nick. He says, okay, let me go back to Alabama and I'll just have like a better player at every single position than my opponents.
Probably a good call.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, do we have our first winner?
We do.
In the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League selection process?
Shelby Sharp, very quick. He was quickest on the draw. So we had a couple. I think our first one was off. Who was it? Michael and Madison, I believe, was our first person. He was off by just a couple.
Okay.
And then we've had a good amount. We had Jason call in. He actually had the correct number. George in Murfreesboro, I believe, was third. Very close. A bunch of 158 is the answer.
Correct. 158 touchdowns when you factor in Ward's entire college career.
Yes. So Shelby Sharp is our number one winner. First winner.
Congratulations to Shelby. Congratulations. We will have a spot to give away every single day on the program next week. So make sure you are tuned in for that. They will not all be trivia questions. They will not all be on the text line. Hint, hint. So we will get into that next week too. We'll have a different spot.
What about, can we do like a stupid human trick or something? Like have a dog like lick or like drink a bowl of milk out of your mouth or something like that?
Boy, I didn't know where that was going.
Oh God, that's a fair point. Congratulations to Shelby Sharp. Great alliteration. Love the name.
We'll continue the program, we think. Coming up next, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Keep up with training camp with 102.5 The Game for the latest updates, player interviews, and more as you get prepped for the upcoming football season. Coverage of training camp presented by Tennessee Brew Works, Parman Energy, and the Music City kickoff game. We'll have Adam Sparks with us on the program here in about 12 minutes, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, the Seahawks and the Titans with a joint practice session that will get underway later today. My question for you is this. Outside of Cam Ward, if you could identify one Titan that you would prefer to have a standout performance when it comes to the joint practice session today and the game coming up on Sunday, you could pick one Titan other than Ward. Who would you pick?
Say when you talk about their corners, I mean, you're talking about the best of the best. So it's almost too close to Cam, but like to see Carnell Tate go out there and make some big time plays, get press, get off the press and kind of wow people. I mean, I'd probably pick that because he was really on, he was really kind of rolling. And then, he just didn't do anything in the preseason game. Didn't get a lot of opportunities, a couple, but it didn't work out. So I think I might pick him. I mean, I continued to look at Latham just as a guy you want to see him handle his area and keep his momentum going. So I know I'm like keeping it on offense, but I suppose you flip it around and you'd like a Cordell Flott to not come away looking like burnt toast today and also Sunday. He's someone who certainly needs to respond. As we've talked about, he's acknowledged that, which is great. So can you go out there and play a little better against, again, I mean, the Seahawks are just, they're the defending Super Bowl champions, which I feel like they might be one of the least talked about Super Bowl champions that I can remember. But they are that, and they are just really good across the board. So there's a lot of players in the Titans who are going to get a really good look today and are going to be able to measure themselves up against good players.
Ian, is there anybody left that Rexrode didn't just rattle off there, do you think?
Oh, wait, I forgot special teams. Hold on. Joey Sly.
Question. Yeah, kicker. And maybe punter. Returner. No, I think he pretty much nailed it.
I mean, Townsend did put one off like the side of his foot
Shanked
in the first
one.
preseason game.
Yeah.
It ended up working out because it took a nice hop for him, but need to execute the punts a little bit better. My immediate answer was Flott, Joe. Like, it would be great for Flott to go out there and you not be coming away after week 2 of joint practices / preseason games and thinking to yourself, is he going to be able to cover anyone all year? Because if not, that's a huge problem. Look, I have no idea how much participation some of these veterans for Seattle are going to go through. I would assume the joint practices, they'll go through some. But in the game, like, you're the Super Bowl champs. I don't know how much work you need in the preseason. And look, I don't think this would fall on Flott specifically anyway, at least exclusively. But, I mean, I would like to see, at least for a little while, like Jackson Smith and Jigba out there,
Yeah.
See what that looks like.
That'd be nice.
Get some good work against the Titans. But, like, it would be great to walk away from preseason game number 2 and for, like, Cordell Flott to have made a play on the football or something like that.
Yeah, made a play on the football or even not.
Nobody threw his way.
Yeah, not made a play because he wasn't targeted a bunch of times and then give up a reception every single time he was targeted. That would be good. Amani Hooker. You go through the whole secondary if you want. I mean, Kevin Winston, is he gonna be one of those, guys who pops and people are talking about after today and or after Sunday? So it's a great look. I mean, I think like with this, and then of course next week the Bears, as bad as the preseason is, and as sick of it as we all are, at least the week after week after week, you getting the joint practice with 3 good teams, followed by a game. So I mean, it keeps it interesting until that ends, and then we wait and wait and wait. College football will fill the void.
By the way, a lot of fights going on in these joint practices.
Yeah,
I mean, there was the all-out brawl that the Saints and the Cowboys had. So you got to avoid that. And then wasn't there one yesterday too? Like the Dolphins and whoever they were practicing against, Giants. Yeah, the Giants and the Dolphins in a scrap at joint practices out there. You got Saquon Barkley talking about how much he hates joint practices. You got Sean Payton was talking about like the fights in his Broncos practice the other day. And he's like, well, I guess we need to just identify the game on the schedule that you guys want to fight in. So we know we don't care about winning that game. And then I'll go out there and I'll size up the other head coach and we'll just fight that game if that's what you guys want to do.
I missed that. I like that.
It was good.
Yeah.
I wish he'd do it this week because they're playing the preseason game against LaFleur, so I'd like to see him fight him.
You're LaFleur or Little
Yes.
LaFleur?
No,
You can't just say LaFleur anymore.
Senior LaFleur.
Yeah. And the LaFleurs, did you say the LaFleurs are they playing each other preseason or playing each other in the regular season?
Preseason.
Yeah. That'll be sweet.
I mean, maybe both now that I think about it, but I think the preseason.
Wow. What a moment that'll be for you, to get a little bit emotional about the LaFleurs. Yeah, I don't know. Is there more fighting now? I feel like it's more joint practices and not all time have had a fight, or at least had, some kind of some flare-ups that you would call scuffles or whatever, right?
Like there'll probably be
It'll
one
happen
today.
today.
Like if you're going, and I bet I can tell you who'd probably be in the middle of it.
Yep. One person who, at the very least, will be in the middle of some post whistles, shoving. Just don't want to get anybody hurt. But
just keep 98 away from the throwing punches. Don't need anybody throwing punches at helmets. Let's not break our knuckles throwing punches at helmets.
Exactly. Football players probably need to learn, like, if you study a boxer, like work the body, like try to like get a little uppercut to the gut. That's fine. People way too often are just swinging for the head like it's a regular fight when there's a helmet on the other head. Really, really dumb.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel will join us coming up next. We'll get into the latest with Tennessee and what's going on at fall camp with them. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. Talking some Vols, and to help us do that, we head to the phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcoming our friend Adam Sparks to the program from the Knoxville News Sentinel. Adam, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Real good. How you guys doing?
Doing awesome, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. So, Adam, let's just start on the quarterback front. What's your best sense of where things kind of stand there and when Josh Heupel may be ready to make a decision on that front?
Well, I mean, it's the consensus is that Faison is ahead. I think, and I share that opinion. Faison is ahead. I think the only difference in opinion you would find with anybody that covers the team is whether it's locked up or not. And I think it's close, but not necessarily. In other words, so they have a scrimmage tomorrow, the last inter-squad scrimmage of camp. If Faison does reasonably well, then I think the job is his. But if he struggles, and let's say George McIntyre is exceptional, I think the competition could extend a little bit. I don't think that Josh Heupel is going to announce Faison as a starter, 24, 48 hours after he was terrible in a scrimmage. So I think that's the only place I would depart maybe from the herd a little bit, is that I think I agree that Faison has the job close to in hand now, but I think there's still a scenario for George to get it. Now, when he'll announce, I think some of that depends on how the scrimmage goes. Let's just say, Faison it's close scrimmage, but from what we understand, he was pretty good in the last one. If he's pretty good in this one, Josh Heupel could announce the starter as early as Sunday. He's done this a couple of times since he's been at Tennessee. Announced the starter in the preseason. A couple of times it was obvious. Hendon Hooker, Nico his second year. But back in 21, it was Milton and Hooker. He waited till the Monday of game week and announced Milton was the starter. He could do that here. I doubt it, but he could, especially if the competition is close. Last year, though, he announced it what it would essentially be this Sunday. They usually have a team meeting that kind of wraps up camp, so that he would tell the quarterbacks on Sunday, then tell the team, and then announce it Sunday night or maybe Monday, which is when Josh Heupel is supposed to have his next press conference. I would guess it would probably happen in there, but he could extend it if he wants to. But somebody's got to get the first team reps next week, and if he doesn't announce it, that's probably going to leak out.
Yeah, and it seems, Adam, like George was really putting up a fight and maybe in some ways ahead real early. This happens sometimes in camp. I think especially with like when you have maybe a quarterback who obviously has more experience in the system. Is your understanding, like you said, I mean, Brandon clearly helped himself in the in that last scrimmage. Do you think it's also, is it a daily also like sort of a takeover from your understanding in terms of, okay, it's like you can see he's just kind of like a little bit better, or is it more like it's even, but if it's even, the ceiling's higher, so it just makes sense to go this way?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you picked out a given day or a couple of days, you could have gone out there and said George was better today or Faison was better today. I think if you kept a tally, Faison has been better more times, obviously. But I do think, the ceiling is part of it. But I'll say this, the skill set is more in Faison's side, his side, because he can run. They need the quarterback run game back. So he brings that. He can extend plays better. George is not immobile. George can move around, but George is not. You don't have as much of the quarterback run game as you would with Faison. But another big thing is they've got to have the downfield passing game. I think they sort of fell in love with it again last year. And Faison did that really well in the scrimmage. I think he's completed 3 or 4 passes of like 30, 40 yards. Should have hit a couple more. He had at least one drop, I know. So of the downfield passing game last year, if you look at their numbers of with Joey of passes 30 yards or more, they almost doubled it. Passes of 50 yards or more, they led the SEC. So they saw last year this should be a part of our offense. Whoever is the quarterback has to be able to throw these. And both of the guys have been pretty good at throwing balls downfield, but Faison has been better, and he was much better at it in the first scrimmage. And so if you know that Faison is a better runner, if you know he can hit those shots downfield that they need, and you know he's going to get better. His trajectory is better because he's only been here since January. You know, all those are points on his side.
So, Adam, how do you kind of quantify how big of a loss Farouk is in the secondary for the Vols? And I'm looking at that Georgia Tech game. I mean, you're not going to have Farouk the whole year, obviously, and you're not going to have Carter in that game. Like, I'm looking at that thinking that could be a potential big issue. What do you make of all that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes with these, you always get the same answers anytime one of these injuries happens. You know, next man up. Where this is why we develop depth and et cetera, et cetera. I'll say this one is a little different. The body language was not good. They put on a good front, but you could feel it in the building that this was more than just losing a starter. They loved the fact that he grasped the defense so well. I mean, he was, there was a safety, Dejon Lane, that came in from Penn State who ran this defense last year with Jim Knowles and with the same secondary coach. And Idris Farouk went past him. And so he really impressed the coaches. He was playing great. He was making a lot of plays in practice. A guy was forcing a lot of takeaways. I think if you had asked them the day before the injury happened, who's your best player on defense, Farouk would have been in the conversation. And so it was a pretty devastating loss. Now, do they have options? They do. But Jim Knowles' defense is so safety-driven. There's just so much of a burden put on the safeties to make plays, to control things, to make the calls, obviously. But he often will have sort of a three-safety look, even if that third one is a nickel. It squeezes down what they can do. Now, Josh Heupel said they'll still have their creativity. That's not going to change because they lost one player. But it does, narrow down the depth that they have, and it puts more pressure on some of the younger safeties that they lacked, but weren't necessarily going to be at the top of the rotation. Like a guy like Dylan Lewis, this is going to be a big scrimmage for him. He's a guy who got lost in the shuffle with the previous staff last year as a freshman. They didn't know, is he a corner? Is he a nickel? Is he a safety? This defensive coaching staff got here and said, you're a safety. You fit in this. And he sort of got a second life and a second look. And, he's going to get his opportunity. He's probably the first safety off the bench. He's their third guy there. So guys like that have to step forward.
Well, speaking of Jim Knowles, Adam, obviously it's Vols fans hope this is a major upgrade. Maybe some of the personnel issues will make it a little more difficult to see that this year. But I mean, big expectations right away for him. The one guy he retained, of course, among the guys would be Rodney Garner, who has been probably Tennessee's star assistant coach, and he's had probably some of their best groups over the years, but very different this year. How is that group taking shape, and is he going to be able to make more magic this year with a lot of young and unproven guys?
Well, it's always going to be better than Rodney lets own, because he is,
right.
As they say, he's only happy if he's unhappy when he's talking about his guys. It's hard to satisfy him. That's worked for him now for a long, long time. It's a little different this year because he has a few veterans, but some of the veterans he has have been injury prone, so they haven't been as consistent over the years. They've waited for some of these veterans to come around, and this is sort of their chance. Guys like Tyree Weathersby, who's been here a long time. I think he's a senior now. He's flashed at times, but not been the guy. I found it interesting that when Rodney Garner, when we asked him who's been the best D lineman in camp, and he said Xavier Gilliam, the Penn State transfer, and Jordan Norman, the Tulane transfer. So that's two brand new guys. That's his two best. On one hand, you say, well, good. That's what you want out of transfers. On the other hand, you would think you'd be listing guys that were returning guys in a different defense. I know it makes a little bit of difference, but They have to be better than what they have shown so far in camp. I think they will. I mean, we look at the schedule and say it's tough, but early on, it's a little easier to tiptoe into the season. I mean, Furman is an opener. That obviously feels like a preseason game, a college preseason game. Georgia Tech will be tough, absolutely. But then you get Kennesaw after that. Auburn is early in the year. That's not the easiest game, but it's also not Alabama. I know Texas is there, but you see what I'm saying? There's a way to sort of get into the season, I think, with a lot of these positions, including D-line, and figure yourself out in the first month.
All right, Adam, last thing for you. Joe does not like all things new and also does not appreciate history, so it's an interesting combination. So I'm interested to get your thoughts on some uniform topics here for the Vols. What do you think of the third Saturday in October, both teams wearing home jerseys? And what do you think of the new smoky gray that came out yesterday with the white pants, which I do not love?
Okay, that's funny. So I actually I think the white with the smoky gray is better. The all gray before. I like the color gray. I would never wear gray pants and a gray shirt. It's just weird looking. So I think it was a better decision to go white pants. There's a lot of elements on there. I think this is their best smoky gray they've had so far. And a lot of it is just sort of the story behind it and all the Neyland stuff. It's a fine line, though, when you put so many elements into something that you've got something on the shoulder and something on the back of the helmet and the T is gone. And it's just a lot going on. But it's one game, and this is to sell merchandise, and it's fine. The Bama-Tennessee thing, I think that looks awesome, the red and the orange. I think it'll pop well on TV and all that. That being said, and I just wonder this, they haven't done this since the early 70s, mostly in the 60s. I just wonder, like for a quarterback, I'm just thinking red and orange in the right sunlight, to me, in a split second, looks a little similar. I know they played this for a while. They didn't have as much of the passing game going then as they do now.
Yeah, they threw 9 passes.
I mean, you just look at those two colors, and they're not that different. And so I just wonder if anybody, probably nobody publicly would say, but if anybody after any of those games privately says, "Yeah, I thought it was their guy. It was their guy." So but it'll look awesome. I hope it stays just for the scene of it.
Best smoky grays is like, hey, it's my favorite ingrown toenail. But Adam, I've got to ask you though, real fast. Did Bev watch DGG on TV last night?
She saw highlights. Yes.
Okay. Okay. She's aware.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's yes. The Braves played earlier in the day, so she had to get her fix somehow. So watching 17-year-olds run the ball for a team that you don't care about against another team you don't care about, but you're going to care about the guy next year. Sure, yes, she did watch that.
That's what it's all about, baby.
I mean, I got excited watching it. I'm like, bring him on now. Guy can play in the NFL right now.
He's definitely one of those guys where we joke about, he could play right now in the next level, whatever. Certainly in the SEC, he could play this season, no doubt about it. But yeah, he has the body to play almost beyond that. So we'll see. It's fun. I think it's so interesting about whether he's going to be playing with Deshaun Bishop next year, or is he going to come in with sort of a new group and be the guy even earlier than we think. I wish Deshaun would stay one more year, especially if he's good this year, because I'd love to see those two, one mentor the other. But we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, by the way, talk about like an intimidating looking running back room. Deshaun Bishop is massive. So, that could be pretty amazing if it works out that way.
And even in person, it's even more so. I made the observation, Deshaun's interview a couple weeks ago. While he's talking, I lean over to one of the TV reporters beside me, and I said, he has 4 knees. And they looked and said, whoa, he does. Because his quads pop out to the point where they look like his knee, and then we would kind of peek over, and he that wasn't his knee, that was his quad. He had another knee. So he has 4 knees when he sits down, just because everything's sort of popping out. You say this every year. Oh, these guys look great. They put on weight, whatever. You absolutely can see it in all the interviews when the guys are out of pads. These guys look. They absolutely look different than they have before because of the strength training.
Adam, great stuff, man. Appreciate you taking time to join us this morning. Have a good weekend, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Yes, sir. Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel, our guest. We'll have the Rex Rant coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
I'm looking at you. I'm not happy. I am the Wizard of Bargain Odds. Now you better not lose this football game as I sit in the pool.
Who cares about his short arms?
Carnell Tate is a guy who's going to change things and take us back to the era of A.J. Brown.
If that Chad Brinker only had a brain. Oh, my goodness.
She's at her home.
A better idea.
There's no place like home.
How do you like them apples?
Have a dog, like, lick,
Much prefer a horse.
or, like drink a bowl of milk out of your mouth or something like that.
I drink a lot of milk, Andrea. A lot of milk.
I don't know that I have especially pointy nipples.
Oh, yeah, you can milk anything with nipples. I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
But sometimes I definitely notice my nipples.
You might want.
Well, it is time for the Rexrode, served by the Wine Cellar in Hendersonville, a spectacular place. Joe, the floor is yours.
Ian has an amazing ability to make me feel shame that I ever speak publicly. Yeah, the beginning of that dog sentence was very unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, if anybody's ever seen the old David Letterman used to do like stupid pet tricks, and then whether it was stupid pet tricks, and they actually had. I'll never forget this. Like they had a dude get on the stage and like filled his mouth with milk and laid on his back, and his dog drank as if his mouth were his bowl of milk. I mean, you could probably find this on the internet. It was.
I don't think I want to.
No, I mean it's freaky, but yeah, that's what I was trying to talk about, and then unfortunate use of words, which is a common theme. I had a lot of things that I wanted to complain about. I think I put down as a segment later. We can just do it now. Here's the thing with Pat McAfee. Okay. I think I've talked about him a fair amount. Like when he does stuff like he did when he threw out the thing about the college student, the total unsubstantiated rumor, like that's just like, you can't do it. It's absolutely insane and absurd. Yeah. I mean, he apologized, but like there's things like that where it's like, man, you can't do it. I don't really watch his show, but I get it. I mean, I think he's good on game day. I've said this over and over again. I like him on game day. I like him and Saban on game day. I think it's a good ad. I mean, you're never going to replace Lee Corso. The endings of game day are going to get very annoying, right? But whatever. I mean, his show's popular. I get why he's entertaining. The album is like an insane, like to me, miscalculate. Like I guess whatever. Do what you want to do. He can do whatever he wants to do at this point. He basically owns ESPN. But it's just like, whoa, dude. Okay, someone in your life might need to tell you to pump the brakes. But I must say, as much hatred as there is for him, I don't share it. I think it's way overboard. I do have to ask why the hell he needs to be on Monday NFL Countdown. Like, is it? Again, I don't want to be like, oh, I hate McAfee. I'm not. I don't feel that way. But also, like, they must just feel like he and Stephen A. Smith have to be part of everything. Right. Yeah. And why? I understand that they get people going. I mean, Stephen A. in totally different ways, but they get people going, and the viral clips, like they're usually it's with McAfee, it's typically just like he's interviewing someone who says something interesting. With Stephen A., it's him saying something stupid, and then it gets all this attention. But I don't want to believe that these are smart decisions by ESPN to make it so that every single product they have has at least one of these guys in our face at all times.
Well, I'll tell you crazy? It's because they're paying them, both of those guys, just an unbelievable amount of money. That's why. I mean, they want them front and center as much as they can possibly do it. I mean, you're talking about like a $60 million deal that's being negotiated with Pat McAfee. So, like, I don't know. Like, that's probably the driving force of why. I mean, clearly there's McAfee. I like the show, depending on who he's talking to, like he can get some good guests on there. Sometimes it's funny. Very rarely is there anything like informationally gleaned on there, just because there's not a whole lot of difficult questions to get asked, but it's a good show. Like, it's a good show. So I enjoy it. Like, there are certain things though that they do, like when they do the alternate broadcast for the college football game. Like, maybe it's just me. I don't care about that. Like, I don't really want to watch Pat McAfee and all the guys with him, like on the sideline or under the end zone talking about the football game going on. I'd rather just watch the football game. Yeah. I haven't watched like Sunday NFL Countdown or Monday Night Countdown in like probably 15 years. So it doesn't affect me one way or the other in terms of what it's going to be. But it does. Like, I saw a graphic the other day, Joe, where it was kind of like making fun of ESPN and McAfee, and it was McAfee split screened on the set of Pardon the Interruption, and the rundown topics that they're going to talk about. McAfee. Like, it does kind of feel that way right now at ESPN.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. I'm sitting here. That's why I'm like not complaining because I'm with you. I don't watch those shows. I do watch Game Day, and by the way, he's on it, and it was a good decision. He's good. He knows his stuff. He does his homework, which is it's a big part of it. And I have no doubt he'll do that for the NFL. But it's just like, my goodness. Like someone, David Watertown's like, well, they fired everybody else. So, and maybe you're right. It's like, well, we're going to pay this dude this much and he's going to do every freaking show. Also, like, is it not possible to wear someone out?
Yeah.
I mean, again, I know you're making all that money, but like, my goodness. So if you're him, I guess you can't say no, but it's also like, does the dude ever get a day off? Again, it's just, I don't watch it, so it doesn't piss me off. I just, like people who do watch it, when you hear McAfee's coming on, you're like, oh, nice. This show's about to get way better. That's what I wonder.
I need him to stay away from interviewing Scotty Scheffler. That's step number one.
Why? What happened with there?
Just not a whole lot of golf expertise going on there. So
it would be like me interviewing Scotty Scheffler?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then Scheffler shot 2 over yesterday. So
just make Caddyshack jokes.
Yeah. Turron Davenport with us coming up next. We'll get into all things Titans with him. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
ESPN's Turron Davenport, Talking Titans, now on Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week. We head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Turron Davenport to the program from ESPN, presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. TD, happy Friday, buddy. What's going on?
Hey, happy Friday, fellas. How's it going?
Awesome, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. We got joint practice today. We got preseason game number 2 coming up this weekend, so lots of good stuff on the docket. You can't ask for much more than going up against the defending Super Bowl champions. So, TD, if you had to identify maybe either a matchup or two or an area of the Titans that you're most interested in seeing against the Seahawks this weekend as a whole, what would it be?
All right, so I'll give you 2 matchups. And the first matchup is Wan'Dale Robinson going against Devin Witherspoon. You know, that's going to be something to watch. And I think you look at these are 2 guys that operate out of the nickel and the slot. So that's going to be exciting. Another one, yeah, I mean, look, Leonard Williams is coming to town. And, hey, I mean, according to some of these NFL executives, he was the best interior defensive lineman. They're wrong, but still, he's a top 3 at the very least, and he's not one. So I think seeing him go against Peter Skoronski, going against the rookie, Fernando Carmona, those are a couple of things that I would like to see.
TD, how would you say Cam Ward has responded since the preseason game, this week? And also, like, do you think that just because of the chatter and his own confidence and his need to improve, that there's a little bit more on both today and Sunday just for him to kind of show out and come away feeling good about it?
You know what? I think there's a little bit more regardless. And I don't think it's because of the chatter or anything like that. I think it's just because the young man he's driven to win. You know, he's a kid that really is never satisfied, right? So I think that's something to look at. But I mean, since the preseason game, I noticed there weren't a lot of vertical shots. He took maybe 2, if I remember off the top of my head, but a lot of it is a quick passing game. I think really what they're working to do is get him back in a rhythm. They worked a lot of third down in practice the last time we got to see them out there. So there's going to continue to be a progression, a regression. Is going to be a roller coaster, and that's what happens when you have a young quarterback, especially, learning a new scheme. And I'm not making excuses for him because there are areas where he has to play better, right? Be more accurate, not throw the ball extremely hard all the time. Play the position a little more patiently, those kind of things. So I think overall, I wouldn't be overly concerned, but I would be like, okay, well, let's continue to see how this thing progresses. Because, again, he is learning a new scheme. He got new weapons. It's not an excuse. He has to play better, though.
So, TD, earlier this week, Saleh was talking about Carnell Tate, going up against press coverage, says it's still, work in progress.
Yeah.
And obviously the Titans haven't done a ton of that, and Saleh pointed that out. But where do you think Tate is there? How much room for improvement do you see in that area of his game? Where do you think things kind of stand there with Carnell Tate?
Yeah, I think he's another one continuing to progress. And I'm going to talk to him about that today. It's too bad it didn't happen on Wednesday. Then we'll be able to have a better conversation about it. But, I mean, look, this team, they need help as far as beating press. One thing I did notice, Derek Mason, had pointed it out. They're moving him across the formation. Like he's playing a more than just the X, which is the X is on the ball, and that's your guy that typically if teams are going to press, they're going to press him because he's right there on the ball. So you're not seeing it as much, but I think he does have to work to be more consistent. He's going to be back today, after missing on Wednesday, after he took the big hit on Monday. So, that's going to be something to watch to see how he goes against these corners on Seattle. Obviously, Tariq Woolen's not there. And we know the last time he was here, he was out there. It wasn't good for the receiver. So we'll see what happens with this group.
Our favorite Scrooge this week, TD, stunned me a little bit. Kaharski. I mean, he was almost gushing about J.C. Latham the other day, and he's kind of a believer. Like, I loved what I saw from Latham in the preseason game. I think he's always interesting. I think he had some really good things to say, about Simmons and also, just his own game. Yeah. Are you there with PK? Like, are we moving into, okay, you stop worrying about that side and you're going to have a lot of times where you don't have to help him, things like that, or do you still need to see more to feel comfortable about it?
Oh, no. I mean, look, I wouldn't use comfortable at all. There's still actual games that have to be played. Now, granted, he was solid in the 49ers game. He was solid in the practice. I think, the thing that you're seeing is a more aggressive or more physical. You're seeing him play like a guy that looks the way he does. You know what I mean? As far as in practice, right? But, it's practice. Let's see it transfer to game day. And I don't think there should be any comfort level at all regarding the right tackle position until, there are a string of games put together where it's like, okay, look, I see it starting to click. You know what I mean? And even then, you're not comfortable. You prove it throughout the year. I don't think that that's something that, the alert level should not be lessened because of what J.C. Latham is doing right now. Now, I will say it is really, really good. He improved in the area where I think he needed to improve the most, and that's the mental aspect. And I think, you look at him, again, he's more aggressive. He's playing more like the guy that a lot of people thought he would be out of Alabama, and that's a good thing. And then above all that, he's healthy, right? He's finally healthy. I didn't know that last year, after he had the hip injury, he couldn't do any lower body workout at all this season. Yeah. That's putting yourself in a bad situation. And I'm not saying he did that intentionally. You never want to get hurt, but he got hurt, and there were results from that.
Well, TD, sticking with the line, I've said for a while, the Titans are due to find somebody that basically comes out of nowhere and surprises you on the line. Yeah. And it looks like Carmona is doing that. Now, I think the natural question, if you're a Titans fan, is, all right, how much of this is him coming in and seizing the job, and how much of this is maybe the other options at right guard not being great? And I guess we'll find out more about that as the regular season gets here. But it seems like a really, really positive development for the Titans that he's come in and played the way that he has. What do you make of Carmona, what he's done to this point in camp, and what that means for the Titans long term if they found somebody that can immediately step in and play those big snaps at the right guard spot?
Yeah, that's huge. And my guy Lise Duzaba, he played here and for the Jets and a few other teams. He's with CBS Sports HQ now, and he's been on me about Carmona the whole training camp. And he told me a couple weeks ago that Carmona was going to mess around and be the starter there. And look what happened. Lise, he actually had a second-round grade on Carmona. And there are other people who had, at the least a third-round grade, right? They had him as a day 2 prospect. So, look, the guys come in, he's brought an attitude to the position. They want nastiness along the offensive line, and he's held his own. He won some, lost more against Jeffrey Simmons. But, I mean, look, that's a baptism by true fire, right? Having going against the best interior defensive lineman. I'm not going to lie, Jeff smoked him a couple of times, but the fact that he's getting back up and going back against him and as I said, winning himself at times, I think really the main thing for him, get the playbook down, continue to play with that nastiness, that aggressiveness that they want. That's what they really like about him. He's a tone setter. So that's a positive for him.
Oh, yeah, and it just seems like with those guys, like you said, Latham looks like he understands how physical he can be more in the brief glimpses here. Carmona, it just seems like maybe running the ball could be a real strength for these guys, along with stopping the run. So if you have those two things, how much does that help the overall picture of a football team? If you have a certain level of being able to run the ball and being able to stop the run.
Yeah, well, look, if you could stop the run, I would say probably 7 out of 10 coordinators that they're going to come in and want to run the ball on you, right? Establish the run, you know what I mean? And that's good. You want to be able to stop it, but you can stop the run all you want. If teams could pass the ball on you the way teams have done it, it's not going to make any difference. So I think, to me, really it's the pass defense that has to balance out slightly, and it doesn't right now. As far as running the football, yeah, I mean, look, that's a young quarterback's best friend. That's a defensive coach's best friend too. So you could always play off of that, right? You could play action. You got your RPOs, you got your different things that you could go to off of it. So I would, if I'm Brian Dable, I'm running the football first. I'm establishing that, and I'm letting teams know, you come in here, it's a physical game. I got this physical offensive line. From even Dan Moore Jr. has become, a more aggressive player. I'm not saying it's good to fight, but this guy is, he got into the altercation after practice. After a play against the 49ers, and then you see him, get in the mix a couple times in the practices since, and there's just a nasty mindset that this offensive line has, and I think it could be accentuated, through the run game.
So TD, first off, that Stribling kid in San Francisco might end up being pretty good. Good grief. Another good performance from him last night. But,
yeah,
obviously some concern from Titans fans on Flott in the aftermath of that game. What did you make of that? How important, I guess, is a response from him both today in the joint practice and on Sunday in the game?
Yeah, I think that's where the urgency to me is the most. And they revamped the cornerback room. They signed these guys, Flott and Alontae Taylor, to be leaders in there. And it's the results haven't been good enough, period, right? Flott, he finds himself in position a lot, but he's just not turning and making a play on the ball. And that's a problem. And you got to figure that out, because, there's no use being in position if, when you're in position, the receiver's still able to take the ball from you, and you mentioned Stribling. He had a 33-yarder on him, in the preseason game. And you had Patrick Taylor Jr., a running back, not named Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, tap toes and catch a touchdown pass. There was a pass interference on it. Like, these things can't happen. And I think when you look at a guy that you bring in to be a lead corner, you can't consistently get beat. And I'll be honest with you, it's almost like every practice you're seeing him give up a big play. So he has to bounce back. I think, when you look at this type of situation, it's kind of chess. Like, okay, where's my confidence level, right? And I think that's something that cornerbacks, if they don't have that, forget it. It's over for them. You know what I mean? So he has to make sure that he doesn't lose his head, and he finds a way to make plays on the ball, because it's not happening. And that's a big part of why you're seeing him get beat. You've seen Ayamaner back shoulder him a couple of times. Tate has caught contested balls against him. So these are things that you can't have happen consistently. It's going to happen, but it can't be consistent the way it is right now.
Yep, going to be a long year if it's consistent in that way. TD, awesome stuff, man. Appreciate your time. As always, enjoy the joint practice today, the preseason game this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week, man.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it. And I just got to take a second. I got to shout out my daughter, Turron Davenport. We went up to Ohio State yesterday, dropped her off, freshman year, Ohio State, and I'm super proud.
OH, baby.
Yes,
you're going to see some good football. You got the IO down. All right, Dad. There we go.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, congrats. That's awesome, man.
For sure. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Turron Davenport, our guest here on the program, presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. That's a man of many talents, man. You're dropping kids off at college. You're covering football practice coming up. You got the preseason game this weekend. Lots of stuff going on there. Very interesting on the Flott stuff there. We'll react to what TD had to say on that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Catch the Metro High School football game of the week every Friday at 7 o'clock on 102.5 The Game. Tonight's game will feature Pearl Cone taking on Montgomery Bell Academy. Before and after the game, Big Joe and Connor Newt will have complete high school football coverage with the Game Blitz, powered by Southeast Financial Credit Union. Looking forward to that. Had a little high school football underway last night in our area, and a lot more coming your way tonight. So looking forward to the Game Blitz. Also, make sure you check out the Sounds today. They're taking on Norfolk. First pitch at 5:35. Catch all the action on 94.9 The Fan. Presented by Twin Peaks, Family Leisure, and Social Cantina. Joe, appreciate TD for being with us in the last segment. That did not sound like a ringing endorsement of what Cordell Flott has put on display so far, both in the preseason game but also throughout camp as well.
Yeah, got to be better. Like he said, and PK said, earlier in the week, like there are a lot of opportunities to make plays. And it's one of the hardest things. This is one of those, even when we talk about like Cam and like, how didn't you see that? We sit here and watch something on TV and it's like, oh my God, it's so obvious. Just turn around and make a play on the ball. Well, when you're actually, a corner chasing a guy and trying to stay with them, it's a lot easier said than done, but it's what you're paid the big bucks for. And, I'd say that the advanced billing on Cordell Flott, based on what he's done in the league so far, certainly has exceeded what we've seen. But, it's early. It's one preseason game. Football doesn't count yet. This is when you make mistakes. You'd like to see him respond and play better.
You would like to see that? If you don't see that, look, if you spent that money on corner this offseason and immediately early in the season you're getting just torched all the time, that's not a good start. Now, I remember, Joe, having similar discussions about Malcolm Butler at one point where it was like, all right, Malcolm Butler's out there. It feels like he's around the ball, but he's not really making plays on the ball. And then eventually Malcolm Butler started to figure it out, and he played pretty well for the Titans. So I don't know that I'm necessarily like in panic mode yet when it comes to Flott. It's not been a good start. I think he's not as important as Cam Ward this week, but, beyond Cam Ward, I think he's up there with anybody when it comes to guys I'd like to see play pretty well this week against the Seahawks, just to establish some level of confidence there. But I does, like as TD was talking there, it did kind of remind me a little bit of the early Malcolm Butler tenure here with the Titans. That's a good pull. I almost totally forgot about Malcolm, but man, I really enjoyed covering that guy. God, that guy was hilarious. But yeah, no, he was. That's a good comparison. It was pretty toasty early with him, and it got better. Shout out to Jude on the YouTube chat with Flott Tire. I like that. That's good. Hopefully we're not too tired of Flott by mid-October. It's Flott and just that secondary, Monty Hooker. I think Kevin Winston, we're going to see him make plays this year, and you'll be like, okay, yeah, you can see it. You can see the range, the speed, the physicality. But can those two guys be a good tandem and not have, bad corner play to have to compensate for, we probably talked the least about Alontae Taylor, and I wouldn't say he was great like in the preseason game, but I think you're fine there. And I think Harris looks like a good find, but can that group all come together? And of course you got to sync it up with the pass rush. By the way, I don't know if you saw, well, you wouldn't have seen this. PK tweeted that Kendrick Falk will not participate today. We talked about that shoulder. At least one observer talked about something being popped back in. So PK saying it doesn't seem like a long-term thing, but I don't know. I'm slightly concerned about that. Yep. And that's also somebody at 21. You talk about needing all the reps you can get. Like I'd like to see him get those reps. If he ends up missing a week or two in training camp, it's not the world's biggest deal, but the shoulder stuff, it's also something, Joe, that can linger a little bit. So worried about that. Yeah, football is not easy on shoulders. It is not. So, yeah. And the thing is, I understand Jalen Harrell is not some huge loss. He's a depth loss, but it is in the rotation. That is a little bit more opportunity for others. And, of course, you're going to churn at the bottom of the roster. But
Falk
Femi's
is
going to play 4 quarters on Sunday. Good grief.
Yeah, well, he needs the work too. So you definitely want to see, you want to see more from those guys. And then Jacob Martin, of course, also got banged up. So it's how it goes in training camp. You're going to have some of that.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. More to get to on the Titans and the Seahawks. We will also react to what we heard from Adam Sparks a little bit earlier in the show. If it looks like Faison Brandon may be on the verge of wrapping up the quarterback competition, we'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping. Property managers, if you manage it, they maintain it. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Taking your thoughts. By the way, Ian points out, San Francisco put up 41 last night, so how about the Titans defense holding down the 49ers last week in the preseason, Joe? What do you think of that?
Yeah.
Maybe the secondary's not as bad as we thought.
I think most of those points were scored by deep backups against deep backups, but hey, the scoreboard says what it says. That's right. So, yeah, maybe we're not giving the Titans the respect they deserve. But speaking of respect, I got to give some to Jay in Clarksville for a flat earther.
Flat earther. It's good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Hey, Cordell, send him to the moon after that touchdown.
Poor guy's getting all these nicknames after one preseason game.
Jeez. I hope he's good, because if he's not, there's certainly a lot of potential there.
I will say Seattle's wide receiver core with JSN and then Rashid Shaheed kind of drops off a little bit after that.
It does. I'm
curious, how that might look. Plus, in the preseason, I think they kind of try for the one-on-one matchups on purpose to evaluate, how much does that carry over to the regular season? It's hard to know.
I'm just looking at this all caps Barganos. I just can't. Just amazing.
Mike Barganos here.
Yeah, we do a lot with names on this program. I'd say we do more with names than any other show
in America. Yes.
I think that, we deserve recognition for that.
I would agree. We'll continue to take your thoughts on the Seahawks and the Titans joint practice going up. We did have Adam Sparks on earlier in the show, Joe, and he basically said, hey, look, he's basically like everybody else and thinks that Faison Brandon ultimately going to end the job or win the job. They've got the scrimmage tomorrow coming up. We've talked about Brandon versus McIntyre. If things go well for Brandon tomorrow, Sparks made it sound like if he plays well in the scrimmage, you might hear Heupel name him as the starting quarterback like Monday. So what do you make of that, Joe?
Yeah, I must say that was a little bit surprising to hear from Sparks, because the scrimmage is one thing. I think clearly the scrimmage flipped it. And sometimes, these things happen. And unfortunately, Tennessee is like most places, which is, here's what happened in the scrimmage. Here's a press release with some stats, but then you hear things, of course. And I think it's clear that like Brandon played better, but also when the way this all comes about, it's like, was Brandon just going to be the starter all along? And it's like if Curtis starts for Vanderbilt, it's the same thing. Like, was this just trying to motivate him? But they knew all along he was actually going to be QB1. Who knows? I was a little bit surprised to hear that. I would have guessed maybe a little bit more of a competition still, but it almost sounds like it would take, pretty significant maybe step back from him, plus, maybe step forward from McIntyre for it to change things. So I don't know. I think it makes sense for Heupel to do that because, like we've talked about, in either case, you were talking about a super young QB who, even in week 2 on the road, like you're going to have to, like you're missing your linebacker who's key in that game. You're going to have really good QB playing that game. You got to have every practice rep possible. So I think that's why you would do it. But I also, like, if I had to guess, I'm for some reason, I just feel like it's a game week thing and Heupel just waits, but we'll see.
Well, it's, Sparks said it. I think I've heard it from a couple of other places that it sounds like Brandon hit a few deep shots down the field in the scrimmage that were pretty impressive. We'll see what tomorrow's scrimmage kind of looks like on that front. But Sparks brought up something again that I just think is going to be not the deciding factor, but it is a big part of this. Like Brandon's ability to run, like if it's close in the passing game, if you factor in his ability to run, well, that's it right there. Like, I mean, it pushes it over the top. So, if that's the way it ends up going, I think, question of, okay, let's say Faison Brandon plays well in the scrimmage tomorrow. He wins the job and he's the starting quarterback for Tennessee this year. As a true freshman, what level of quarterback player are we talking about? Because I would have to imagine, Joe, that as a true freshman, He'll make some spectacular plays out there just because of the natural athleticism. He's a high-level recruit, all those things. There'll probably be a few games where it doesn't go really well for Faison Brandon too. I mean, that's just kind of the path that most true freshmen go down, especially when you're playing in the SEC. And oh, by the way, you're talking about a 9-game SEC schedule for the first time. So there'll probably be a couple in there that don't go overly well for Faison Brandon. How do you handle that? What level of quarterback play you're getting? But I mean, based on that conversation with Sparks, I mean, I'd be pretty surprised if it's not Brandon at this point.
Yeah, and another thing on that is if your first game is a bigger game, that'd be another reason to just don't let the opponent wait as long as possible, especially if you're talking about kind of two different styles of quarterback. Whereas in this case, you got a first game where they're both probably going to play, and then there'll be tape out there before your first quote unquote real game, right? So that is something to consider. And to your point, I'd almost be shocked at this point if at some point during the season it's not like, oh, maybe it's time to look at the other guy. And there's just going to be some struggles, right? I mean, again, maybe not. Maybe it'll be just great throughout, but it's a tough league, tough schedule, a lot of really big games. And there's a very viable talent sitting on the bench, regardless of which way this goes. If it goes Brandon's way, everybody knows you're hoping that there's growth and you're building toward the future. But you still have a very talented guy sitting on the bench who has been around another year. And so if you do have struggles, it's an obvious thing that people will talk about.
So where's McIntyre playing next year, you think?
Oh, man. That's a good question.
I'm only like 20% kidding.
Yeah, I mean, that's he would be one of those guys. But you can go look in a lot of places, in college football where there's actually a QB competition. There's it seems like rumbling wise, Keelan Russell seems like he's going to get that at Alabama. So the other guy whose name eludes me
Awesome,
gets
Matt.
out there. Yeah, there you go. Matt gets out there. I mean, there's going to be a lot, and who knows? Maybe I don't know. I mean, Hendon Hooker, does he have a year left? Can Hendon Hooker get back in and get another year? I don't know. Did he redshirt? Does he? I mean,
Sankey would not be happy with that.
I don't think he has a year left. I don't think. I have to go back and look though.
Okay, let's see.
Because he was old. I mean, he was 24 years old coming in the draft.
How about Zach Wilson? Can he come back and play college football? I mean, it's just open season. Everybody come on back to college. If the NFL isn't quite working out, or you know what, even if you're just not quite making enough in the NFL, come on back to college football.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, Vince was an early entry guy, right?
By the way, has that documentary come out yet?
You know what? Yeah, I think it's supposed to be in the 20s somewhere. Okay. So I don't know.
I'm
definitely interested to see it.
Seeing the 25th.
All right.
Okay. There we go.
So next week.
Next week. So,
I'll watch it. I'm interested Vince Young is polarizing time around here. I'll watch it.
I'll watch it too, and hope that the selling of it, in which it was like when a coach hates you, it's so hard. It's like, then they show Jeff Fisher, and you're like, is this really what we're gonna do? But I'll keep an open mind until I watch it.
I'm really hoping there's some behind the scenes footage of the Cheesecake Factory or TGI Fridays, like some never before seen like camera crew that was there at the time. I mean, this is pre-smartphone, so it would have to be a camera crew, but I'm hoping for some.
Just like the shrimp poppers just all over the place,
Yeah.
Shrimp poppers, jalapeno poppers.
Wait a minute. Vince Young and Lindale White are over there with like $3,000 worth of potato skins. What the heck's happening?
Just piled high on the table.
You see how much sour cream they got with that? It's unbelievable.
Making me hungry now.
I know nothing sounds better than potato skins at 8:41 in the morning,
I mean, put an egg on it,
Yeah.
I'd eat that. I'd eat that right now. Texter says, I'm a huge Tennessee fan. Would it be valuable for Faison to sit this year and learn as much as possible or to start as soon as possible? Look, I'm always a believer. If Jared Curtis and Faison Brandon could both sit this year, I think that'd be great. I think some of the quarterback success stories we see out there, it's exactly that. It's like, let's plan on this year, Bryce Young. Let's plan on this year, CJ Stroud, and a lot of other guys.
Nico.
And Yeah, Nico. It's right. And you'll be ready to come out. But it's just not reality. They need to win. And if he's better than George McIntyre, that's it. You're going to learn taking some lumps. We'll see if Michigan benefits this year. Bryce Underwood looked very much like a freshman last year. He also had a coach who was like sliding into DMs, during halftime. So, what is that? I mean, but will he be better for it this year, having played as a true sophomore? I don't know.
Well, the bottom line is some of it's based on the situation in your quarterback room. Like, for example, let's say Joey Aguilar won his court case and he was the starting quarterback for Tennessee this year. Well, then you got a senior that's been around, that's played a ton of football, that coming into camp would be the starter, and Brandon would be sitting for a year, and then you'd be talking about him taking over next year. Well, you don't have that in Tennessee's quarterback room. I mean, you've got a guy that transferred in from Colorado who's not a starting quarterback, and you've got a guy that's barely played football in George McIntyre. Where if you're Brandon and you're sitting this year and McIntyre is the guy, well, McIntyre, if he plays well, is a guy again next year, and you're just transferring. So there's no established veteran guy in the quarterback room to make that even really an option this year.
Exactly. Basically you need to be at a place with an established senior, and then that's perfect. And those guys had that.
Let me say what you will about Joe Milton, but that's why it worked with Nico, right?
Yeah.
Joe Milton was there, and everybody knew he was going to be the quarterback, and Nico sat for a year, and then he took over.
And then he was, frankly, not as good as people hoped.
Yeah.
Although he was better than some Vols fans, I think, like to remember it. But it wasn't a huge splash like people were hoping for.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will wrap up the show. Welcome more of your thoughts. Coming up next, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hey, Robby, Stanley here. Fantasy football is rolling. Drafts are taking place and will be taking place over the next couple of weeks. And we've got your perfect spot for your fantasy football draft party. It's Twin Peaks, 29-degree draft beers, bites for the whole team, a $50 bonus card for the commish, and an additional $5 bonus card for every drafter. Call to book your draft party today at the Twin Peaks Madison location. Visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more information. That's twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft. Hang out with us next Friday, August the 28th at T-Line in West Nashville as we celebrate 102.5 The Game's 15th year of being on the air. We got gifts for you, the listeners, every hour starting at 6 a.m. Listen for a chance to win Preds tickets, Vandy tickets, concert tickets, and a whole lot more. Be sure to stop by T-Line, get signed up for a chance to win Nashville Predators season tickets as well. For more information, visit thegamenashville.com/birthday. So looking forward to that 1 week from today. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Rexrode, somebody pointing out that maybe Mettenberger can return, get some NIL money. Need more of the Met show out there.
I'd like that. Maybe Lane. I mean, Lane's out here apparently like super aggressive with all these dudes who are coming back. So, well, I mean, I know, be shocked, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Will Wade is doing the same thing. And Sankey, I don't know if you saw this, but Sankey's out there like basically like dunking on LSU and Will Wade. I'm sure. I mean, in all seriousness, like when Sankey found out that LSU was bringing Will Wade back to the SEC, he must have been like, "Good God, are you serious, guys?
Couldn't you have used your allocations elsewhere?"
Allocations this, Will Wade.
Yeah.
Also, DJ Burnside is a genius. I mean, he's a freaking genius, man. Like, how much are we paying him for these illustrations?
Not enough.
I think we need to keep a running tab, and at some point, Chase needs to go to his house and give him like this huge check, you know, like a Happy Gilmore check.
Yeah.
But he just did Diary of a Polarizing Figure album cover with me in place of McAfee. My God. How about that courtside? I forgot about that courtside expression. That was like
his best work.
That was from Chicago last year. And I think it was, I don't know, somebody from Tennessee did something. Was it a dunk, I think, or something? We talked about it at the time, and I was like, not bad. What a face. I'm going to kill Andrew for that cookie picture.
I mean, there's a reason that our YouTube chat is as popular as it is, because they get to see your face every day. You know?
Yeah, that's true. It's a real draw. But I mean, you know, yes, I'm beautiful, okay? But that's, you know, when it's moving full time and you're seeing me talk, then you can really sort of absorb the gorgeousness. But you know how it is. Sometimes still photos don't put you in the proper light.
Sure.
Okay. And that's my problem. You know, if you put me on camera and we're talking, then of course you're just stunned. You know, it's like whoever, what's her name, who launched 1,000 ships. But the still shot of that Andrew took of me with a mouthful of cookie from Titans headquarters, it just doesn't represent my beauty.
Yeah, I mean, someone in the SEC thinks I'm hot.
There we go. There we go. Good stuff. Titans Seahawks joint practice today. Joe, we'll see if Ken Ward can respond. We played the clip from Orlovsky to begin the show about how in preseason week 1 his tape probably is disappointing as anybody's out there. I think an important response starting today coming for Cam Ward. It's one thing to respond and play well in practice and do it against your own team. It's another to do it against somebody else, and particularly somebody that's as good as Seattle is, and then in a game setting coming up on Sunday where, you know, who knows? I have no idea what Seattle's plan is for their starters heading into that preseason game, but regardless, an important weekend for Cam Ward coming up in terms of the response against an actual opponent.
Yeah, no question. And I think I'm kind of coming around on the one-day thing, because I think it just increases the possibility that the actual game that is going to be televised will include some guys that they still want to get work. Whereas you get those 2 days, and Salah has talked about, you know, the increased anger on both sides, you know, when you do 2 days. But also, I mean, it seems kind of weird to do it this way and then have that day between. But if we're going to get more of the regulars for both teams in this game, then great. And very important for Cam. There's just no question that it's important in this moment for his own confidence, way more than so Dana Orlovsky or whoever else out there can praise him. But it's just, everybody's talking about the same thing, and it's totally fair. He was not good in a small glimpse of a preseason game. On 2 drives of the 3 he played, he just had some bad plays. So can you just throw out a few good plays and look more comfortable and slow things down a little bit and not throw everything 103 miles an hour? And, you know, I think if you can do that, you come away from the weekend feeling a little better.
Darnold did not play in Seattle's first preseason game. We'll see what that means for this weekend. So, again, have no idea what Seattle's plan is on that front. It would be also nice to say, in addition to just all the Cam Ward discourse in the game coming up on Sunday, I would feel a lot better seeing Ward and Tate actually connect on a couple of passes in that game rather than going over. And I know it was only 3 passing attempts last time out, but need to see those two guys get something going in a game setting.
Yeah, exactly. In the game setting, and then today too. Okay, you've got some. I mean, you've got some big time talent at corner with the Seahawks. So can you go out there and and make some key plays? It's a great look, and the Bears will be a good look too. And it's different styles and schemes, and so we're about to learn more, as much as you can learn in the preseason about some of these guys.
You ready for some high school football action tonight, Joe? I mean, I know you got your fill of it last night, but it does, like, it's a nice feeling when high school football comes back. You got that Friday night high school football. Here in a couple of weeks, we'll go Friday high school football, Saturday college football, Sunday pro football. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely beautiful thing. Yes, game blitz all ready to rock. Thursday is for Knights this week. Normally Friday is for Knights, but 1-0, big win over Lebanon. I like Lebanon still. They're missing their back, who's really good. They got some very good players. One going to play for Butch next year. He made some plays last night, but we stuck it out. Tristan with a huge run late, and it was. If anybody saw the broadcast, and by the way, Panzika and Reagan did a great job, but Jake Sentel, who does not like attention. And they brought him out on the camera, and he is just a beast. He's been a beast. He's a senior. He is a hell of a football player. Shout out Jake Sentel and the Nolensville Knights. Thank you for setting me up for that, Robbie.
You're very welcome. I think my Hendersonville Commandos play Gallatin tonight, so looking forward to that. Big rivalry there. So we'll see what that looks like. Beginning the season with Gallatin, ending it with Beach. So starting it off, starting and closing with 2 big rivals for Hendersonville. So we'll see how good they are this year. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And you're right. It's a great start. We got to see DGG last night on ESPN. Just
Marshall Manning.
Yeah. How did he end up, by the way?
I don't know. I saw a couple throws he made. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I saw a couple throws. But we're about to be there. And in a week from now, we're gonna be at week 0 college football. That's exciting.
Hope everybody has an outstanding weekend. We'll be back on Monday to break down the Titans game. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman is coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.